Did you see that? That was a moose that was flying. Did you know that moose could fly? No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, do you know why they call it the moose? Well, when they're refueling, it has a pressure relief valve that sounds like a female moose in heat. Pretty interesting, right? Yeah, the more you know. All right, let's get into the video. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome to my new series that I'm calling Altitude Adjustment. Get it? Like attitude adjustment, but with an aviation play on the words? I know, pretty clever, right? Today I'm gonna be talking about one of my favorite shoots, and that's when I caught the C-17 in front of the Cascade Mountains, all the alpine peaks in the background with a big old plane in front of it. It was sweet. Now what led to all this was me getting tired of shooting from the same spot, getting the same shots and the same background over and over and over again. So I set my sights a little bit higher up in the mountains. I was after a backdrop that would leave the viewer breathless, looking for that perfect spot where the aircraft could strike a pose against an amazing backdrop. Coordination was key on this one. The pilot had shot me a text saying that he was going to be flying on a specific day and asked if I could make it out for some shots. So I said yes. Obviously, who wouldn't say yes? After going back and forth with him for a while, I sent him some GPS coordinates for a location that I had scoped out recently, along with some screenshots and the ideal flight path drawn onto it. I usually just take a screenshot of Google Maps and then I draw onto it with my finger, kind of pointing out where I'm gonna be and where they should fly to make sure that I get the best shots. For this one, I was aiming for a series of shots that captured the essence of the C-17. A big, modern airplane flying in front of a scene that you normally wouldn't see it in front of. For this mission, my weapon of choice was my Z7, or Z7 for my neighbors to the north, and a 200 to 500mm lens paired with my iPhone to capture video. The Z7's high-resolution 45 megapixels meant that even from a distance, I could crop in without losing too much detail. Not that I really needed to do that for this one because the pilot was exactly where I wanted him to be, and he was actually a lot closer than I expected. So he filled the frame nicely. The only downsides of the Z7 are the frames per second and the fact that the viewfinder blacks out every time it takes an image, which can make it difficult to consistently track the aircraft. This wasn't too big of a deal on this one because they were flying VFR, which means they were flying under 250 knots. So they were going slow enough where I didn't really have to worry about that. The fighter jets are a completely different story. They're pretty hard to track. For this one, high shutter speed and low ISO was the name of the game to help make sure that the frames were crisp and the C-17 was sharp. My settings were a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second, 100 ISO, and f7.1. I had to stop down a bit just because it was a little bit bright out. The journey to the spot is always part of the adventure, and for this one, it was just a nice drive up a forest road with the windows down, fresh air, and good music. Once on location, it was just me, my dogs, and the breathtaking views of the PNW. One of the nice things about the C-17 is that you can actually track them on Flight Radar 24 or ADS-B, which comes in handy for times like this. I actually got a nice little surprise when I was able to see the jets far in the distance about 10 or 15 minutes before they got to me. It was cool watching them going in and out of the valleys and weaving around all the mountain peaks. And once I saw that they were only a couple miles away from me, I got into position and I was ready to capture some moose. And then, there they were. One giant gracefully navigating the valley below, coming into view, followed by the second one. The moment had arrived and it was almost exactly what I had hoped for and what we had planned for. The results? A series of shots that not only captured the C-17 in all its glory, but also the satisfaction of a perfect execution by the pilot and one pump photographer. This guy. And without further ado, the results. And what did this experience teach me? That with the right planning and the right coordination, it can almost feel too easy. And it really did. It was a nice afternoon drive up into the mountains to watch some pilots do their thing. I just happened to be there with my camera. Sometimes the best shots are the ones that you spend the most time chasing, and sometimes they're not. Thanks for joining me on this moose hunting adventure. The journey to capture the perfect shot isn't always easy, but it can be satisfying. And stay tuned, because I'll have plenty more. As always, keep your eye on the sky and your mind skeptical. In the next one, I'll tell you about a time that it didn't quite go as planned. It really didn't go as planned, but the results were still pretty cool, and I learned a lot. So there's that. All right, see ya.